Hi there, welcome back to Automate Live. My name's Jana Martin, Media Production Manager for the Association for Advancing Automation, and joining me now on the desk from NVIDIA is Alvin Clark. He is the Senior Global Developer Relations Manager. Alvin, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We're excited we've been talking all week about AI. I mean, everybody likes to bring it up. And then what we're really trying to dive into, though, is how is this app applicable in industry and manufacturing? And I think you've got some answers for that. So just tell us a little bit about your role in NVIDIA and what you do.
Yeah, so NVIDIA, our go-to-market is through our partners. We're really here, as we say, we try to enable the Da Vincis of our time. So we're trying to find everybody that's got those cool ideas in every type of industry, across the board, especially in industrial. I've seen some great things this week. So we try to foster that. Now I'm developer relations manager. That's really who we interact with. And then they turn around and they make those really cool products that make their way out into the market. So we just there to help, and then celebrate success when it happens. So
which happens often.
Lately we've been lucky and we've been able to celebrate some really great partners here at the show and as well as elsewhere. It's kind of my, I love it. It's a great role. All these, from robotics to quality inspection, generative AI, smart spaces. You're working with all these great people with these great ideas, and we're just really saying, they're going like, how can we help? How are we here to enable you? Like, what do you guys need? And then when they knock it out of the park, we're like, we're going to go promote this and tell the world all about it.
That's so exciting. You guys do have a lot of really incredible partnerships and collaborations. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. When you're looking at who you want to work with, what kind of makes for a successful collaboration?
Yeah, I always look for active collaborations. Transparency is always great. It's a two-way street. It gives the developers a chance to influence our roadmap as to what they need in order to get to the market faster, accelerate it, hit those performance metrics that they want to do. Get that little bit of extra performance, last bit of juice out of the hardware platforms, and then then vice versa. We get to tell them about all the things that we think are coming down the line that they could get them. And then they're able to create, they're like, oh, I think we can then use that. And then it becomes like a really cool, active collaboration. I see myself sort of becoming almost like part of their engineering teams and their product management teams. And then, like I said, and then the best part is then we go out and, celebrate the success of this really cool story that the partner was able to put together. So,
but it really does take that really close working relationship. And I mean, your role, this is what you're dedicated to. That just, I think, illustrates the importance of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's AI is everything from hardware up the software stack, and we try to, make it easier for everybody to use, right? Whether you're a brand new startup and you've got a PhD in data science or AI versus like someone that's like, hey, I'm a domain expert. I know what to look for. I think AI can get me there. I think it can get me that intelligence. Or, hey, I'm sitting on tons and tons of data. And as Jensen said, it becomes now the ability to mine. That data is gold, right? We're in the age of like the data is king. So then how can you guys get intelligence out of that data to make your processes better, your industry better, offer something to your customers that's new? And then so that's really our goal, is just make that AI capabilities easy to use and then really learn from the industries that we engage with. It's my first time at Automate, and I've been learning so much. And we kind of come to the approach of like, what do you guys need? What are your challenges? How can we help? And then we sort of try to adjust our strategy as well.
And that's the cool thing about NVIDIA and where you are in this whole ecosystem, is that you do get to touch all of the different industries and all of the different applications. I mean, what is exciting for you about that?
Yeah, it's kind of nice. AI is such a cool thing, and I'm lucky enough to work for the only AI company that works with every other AI company in the world, as it was to say. So yeah, it's just really cool.
It's incredible. Okay, so let's think about, how do you see your software stack lining up with the hardware?
Yeah, it's interesting. Industrial's got an interesting challenge that there's this really cool group of people, the system integrators, the machine builders, right? Almost every solution in industrial, it seems to me, at least as I'm learning, it's very bespoke. And so then it becomes like, and it's not just the AI piece that's part of it. That's just going to be one piece of the puzzle. And then so it becomes like all these great system integrators or end customers, they have their relationships with hardware manufacturers, whether it be new startups, whether it be someone like Siemens that's rolling out their new line of GPU-enabled IPCs. And then you have all these software companies that are saying, hey, we may have this little AI offering that could be helpful in the industrial, whether it be quality inspection or looking at spatial or global awareness. Someone recently said, one of my partners is like, we're gauging the behavior of a factory, just like how you would gauge the behavior of a person or something else. So it's almost like not only looking at what that one particular machine was doing,
Yes.
but imagine everybody in the factory, all the different machines, the forklifts, everything else, and being able to understand it holistically as it all, to look at for those process efficiencies. So we work with those software guys and we look at it and be like, okay, well, system integrators, they're gonna need to take the software piece. And then that software speak's got to be able to run at the far edge or maybe on Siemens IPC. It's got to be maybe somehow roll on the cloud, on-prem, something custom. So how do we make that software piece easy to integrate on any of all the varied amounts of hardware that varies are in there? And so one of the things that we announced at GTC was NVIDIA Inference Microservice. We have microservices for Jetson and microservices for Metropolis. So we think there's little containers of software goodness can come in and then become the Lego blocks that the system integrators can just very easily deal with and quickly integrate and build these really complex applications. And that kind of expands because now we can like, hey, can we have microservices for PLCs? Or can we have microservices for the different industrial cameras and so forth? And then like how would they interact together? And then how would you add an industrial co-pilot to it or generative AI? So it's very exciting. It's currently, I call it my hypothesis as I try to understand the industrial market. It's like, is this the right way? And then so I'm out talking to and meeting the system integrators here and having a thought leadership discussions about saying, what do you guys think about this approach? Do you guys see it as it works well? And we'll go out and test it with a few key partners and hope showcase it if it works. And if not, it's back to the drawing board, working with our partners to define like the right approach.
And that's incredible. I mean, this morning at the keynote, we were talking about life cycles and trends and hypes and all that. It does feel like AI is at this point where it's like you're in it, you're in the center of it, and you're still trying to figure out exactly like, okay, what are the possibilities? What could we do with this? How do we apply this to make the most of it?
Yeah, and that's not going to come from us. It's going to come from the domain experts, right? Like the guys that have been in industrial inspection or robotics or automation or building machines and have those relationships with the manufacturers and the end customers. We're just trying to show them the art of the possible, but we're really looking for those collaborations of kind of one of the cool things, right? It's AI's at this inflection point where technology is readily available, the tools are getting easier to use, the cost of the platforms and the compute that's required is coming down and it's scaling. So now we're like anybody, like we really want to enable those domain experts, right? Those guys that have been in the field for decades that know it inside and out to really have those discussions and say, what do you guys need? Like, how can we help you use AI for like those crazy problems that you guys just haven't had the ability to solve or had just not been feasible to solve, whether it be cost constraints or we just don't have the development resources or the amount of time to dedicate to it. Maybe AI can address that. Maybe I got partners that can help you address that. Let's have a conversation.
To figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk specifically about one of the things that AI is really instrumental in helping with, and that's inspection.
Yeah.
How is artificial intelligence making inspection, better and safer and quicker and all of those things that we like to talk
I think
about?
quality inspection is a great example of enabling those domain experts, right? Because you go into a factory and when it's like, hey, I'm building windows and I understand window frames and I understand what to look for in the wood and I got all these operators with this great amount of tribal knowledge and everything else. And it'd be like, how can I put that, my inspector, my quality engineer's eyes into an automation machine? And he's basically saying, let's get that guy involved in AI. Let's have the tools. We have the partners that can take that knowledge, that can help those domain experts kind of come in and say, what are you guys looking for? What are the defects? What's not a defect? Let's quickly look at the data. Let's quickly stand something up. And what's great about it is once that infrastructure is there, once the cameras are there, then the model can shift as process shifts, as new models come in line, and then the quality engineers and the operators and all those guys on the line can get more comfortable with collecting that data and then utilizing it, right? So it's great, right? Those end customers have that gold mine, right? They have those nuggets of data. So we're trying to just kind of tie it back. And I think before where it was a little bit more complicated because you had to take that domain expertise and then translate it to a traditional kind of algorithmic, rules-based computer vision. That's a very specific kind of developer, and then the then the cost and the barriers to sort of the inertia you have to overcome to get that domain expertise into it kind of may slow down everything down. But then now it's no longer having to do that, right? AI sort of takes that domain expertise, the models do, and then sort of renders it into what it needs. So it's great. And then so now you can do everything where I can look at plants and target specific weeds so I don't cost as many resources. All those different defects that we're doing, I can, false positives now can get there. And so my secondary stations can now help bring my processes up to speed and better. And so it's great. It's quality goes up, margins go up, right? I mean, that's kind of a great thing. And that increasing that quality in all these opportunities that we're involved with is kind of like what we see is like the main goal, and it's kind of great being involved in.
Yeah, it's very exciting. What applications of AI are you actually most excited about in this manufacturing industrial space?
I think one that's kind of coming about, some of our partners have talked about it, like Siemens and else, is like, can we create an industrial co-pilot, like a chat GPT? And what would that look like? How would it be helpful? Is it a co-pilot that can look at all the sensors coming from machinery, and the maintenance manager kind of comes in and say, hey, what's going on with my machines today? And all of a sudden be like, hey, we're seeing some thermal runaway, some motor issues, some inefficiencies in particular. We think that's where you guys should go and focus your work today. And the same thing for all these different personas. Is it an operator that can quickly ask the machine that they're working on, hey, can you bring up this whether it be a training video or whether it be a diagram or something, just to help them do their job a little bit better? Can co-pilots help onboard operators a lot quicker, right? And make them dangerous sooner, right? Instead of, it takes 6 months for someone to become proficient in that operation or that task. Can AI come in and help them onboard a lot quicker, and then therefore they're more efficient and overall kind of help everything around? So and I think that's just a drop in the bucket. I think there's way more cooler ideas that I've heard from partners out there about what co-pilots can do and Gen AI can do. So we'll work with them and we'll bring them back to the show hopefully next year and
more to come.
More years to come. Yeah.
We're in the thick of it right now. Okay, so. Tell me a little bit more just about, you're here at the show. What kind of connections are you having? Who are you hoping to connect with at Automate this year?
I think system integrators, I think they're key. They hold those relationships, right, with the end customers. You got global ones, regional ones, small ones that are looking at the requirements. They're the first set of eyeballs that come and get the requirements. I don't know the end customers, especially I think with industrial, that you have a sticker that says AI inside is not necessarily going to be the reason why they would buy it. They'd be like, what's the KPI? I want that process efficiency increase. I want that quality increase. I want for it to make my operators' lives easier. I want it to make my quality team's life easier. So it's really like talking to the system integrators that are going to look at those requirements and say, from our ecosystem perspective, or if you guys have a development team, how can we come in and help you? How do we help you translate those requirements and navigate all the cool things that are happening in the AI space to find the right solution to come in and help you? Or if you want to stand up your own development team, how can then we help you enable that? So you have access to the best tools and best practices to accelerate your development processes. So system integrators are definitely cool, but I've had a great time talking to everybody. I'm more on the vision AI side, but even just talking to some of the robotics, the AMR folks, there's just so much overlap and intersection points of all these different technology that there's a little bit. So it's been just a great, fun 4 days.
Is there anything you didn't expect to see or conversations you kind of didn't expect to have or hear from at Automate this year?
No, I think everybody's been fairly open. I think the excitement, it's just the excitement around AI. I think it's cool. I think everybody's seeing it. So now it becomes more of like, help us, let's talk.
How do we actually, here's my problem.
Yeah, more thought leadership discussions, which I think it's great because like I said, we're here to learn. It's my first Automate, so I'm here just kind of taking it all in as a sponge and then going back and sort of we're going to sort of render down all this information, go follow up with all the great people I've talked to this week, and then sort of being like, all right, I think this is how we can help. And then like, I think this is the partners that we can work with. And I want to come away with here with like many, many more collaborations and partnerships to bring onto the ecosystem. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, NVIDIA is great at doing that, and I'm sure we'll see much, much more from that. So it's been great to talk about your work, how you're using AI to help manufacturing in all of these different applications, and we look forward to seeing more.
Thank you, and looking forward to coming to Automate for many, many more times in the near future.
Hey, we're annual now, so we'll be back in
all
Detroit
good.
next
Yeah.
year. Today is the last day of Automate, but we have more interviews coming up here on the desk right after this. Stay tuned.